Hello everyone, today we'll be ranking each and every single character from Mercy to Pocket in Overwatch 2. Knowing who and when to boost is one of Mercy's most important aspects in her kit, as her damage beam is what allows her to carry games. So let's just jump right into the list. Sombra is almost always a bad choice for Mercy to Pocket. Overall, neither character really has any synergy together, with Sombra not wanting Mercy to reveal herself while she's invisible, obviously, or even trying to assassinate someone once she is visible, because Sombra really wants to not be noticed by the enemy team. And Sombra's an unreliable pocket target for Mercy as well, given her translocator, leaving Mercy completely helpless and often in a bad spot if she does fly in to help Sombra mid-fight. The only time you ever really want to pocket a Sombra is mid-EMP, helping her finish off kills during the fully committed fight. While Kiriko's headshot damage is very high and appreciates the boost from Mercy, the projectile nature of it makes it a very inconsistent headshot, and with the only really relevant breakpoint it gets being that Kiriko can one-shot Tracer while boosted, it's not that strong of a boost to have. What really makes this a negative, however, is that Kiriko can't reliably heal and damage at the same time, leaving your teammates helpless if you're boosting her. And as such, Mercy and Kiriko comps also do often have strong damage from other sources. Kiriko really just isn't worth pocketing unless you absolutely need to. Reinhardt on paper doesn't look like an awful target to pocket, as boosting fire strikes of his or his swings mid-battle isn't really that awful. However, Reinhardt often needs speed to help disengage or close the distance on the enemy team, and Mercy plus Lucio often doesn't give Rein the burst healing he needs to be enabled to win fights. So while it can work, Reinhardt's short range and slow movement does make him a less than ideal pocket target. Lucio often has a lot of anti-synergy with Mercy overall, with their lower healing output and Mercy wanting to pocket strong burst damage. Relying on Lucio's inconsistent pellets to rack up kills really isn't the best idea, and your team also having next to no healing from Lucio's aura makes this often not a great combo. Still, on a dive, giving Lucio that slight edge to secure a kill, or the strong stall potential in an overtime situation, does give this core a few small niche cases for a pocket. Sigma's main issue for a pocket is a lack of really needing it. It can help him to secure kills if he hits a rock on a 200 HP target, but other than that, Sigma is more about a sustained zone-in damage, and as such, Mercy typically would rather just pocket one of her stronger options. That said, Sigma does tend to mark the line of when characters start to become more of a fine pocket, even if they're not necessarily ideal. While Tracer does appreciate a damage boost to help her secure kills, she often plays too deep into the backline for Mercy to safely dive in and pocket her, as Tracer will often need to be ready to recall or blink out of fights at a moment's notice. So unless you feel you can really dive deep with the Tracer thanks to Mercy's movement, it's usually not going to be your best go-to. Wrecking Ball, similar to Sombra and Tracer, thrives off hitting a big engage and then escaping into the backline to grab a health back and restart his cooldown cycle. So while it is very strong to damage boost those initial engagements, as it can really help Ball secure a kill, it's important to have an escaping plan ready and fast, as a good Ball player will be leaving the enemy team very quickly after his initial engagement. Moira overall isn't going to get massive damage out of being pocketed, however it is very nice to damage boost her orbs when you can, and as both Moira and Mercy will help peel for flankers on their more fragile teammates, boosting her easy to aim right click does sometimes help her threaten characters like Genji, Sombra, and Tracer out much faster. While you won't be boosting D.Va very often given her incredibly short range, if she does get in a brawl or is clearing a single target out on high ground, damage boosting her can help secure that kill on a squishy target incredibly quickly. So while it is fairly a risky target to pocket, helping D.Va secure that kill can be worth it sometimes. Symmetra is going to be a rather niche but solid pocket target, as her beam can do incredibly high damage over time if it has the time to ramp up, and can be a great fight closer in a brawl mirror. So while she isn't going to be a perfect choice, if you do see her burning down a Rein's shield, be ready to flick over to her, as she'll have an incredibly volatile potential to take over the fight. Orisa is fairly similar to Reinhardt, in that she'd much rather have a speed boost to help enable her. However, she does have a strong amount of personal mitigation, and her stronger poke aspects compared to Reinhardt make her a solid target to damage boost still, especially if you see her hit a javelin, letting her secure that kill on a squishy before the stun wears off. Beams are a fairly strong target to boost in general, and with Mei now dealing 100 damage per second and her instant 50% slowdown, she makes for a solid enough target to pocket if she has gotten a good wall off on a tank or is even just being dove. Baptiste isn't going to be a constant target for you to pocket, however he can pump out some very strong shield break and tank pressure, so if you see him being dived or just sending out a lot of damage, don't be afraid to boost him, especially as he is one of the few supports who can heal while not losing uptime on his fire rate, unlike most of the other supports in the game. The nerf to Hanzo's Storm Arrow damage, as well as the removal of double shield, has really hit Hanzo's utility hard, and as such, he isn't a fantastic pocket target anymore. While boosting Storm Arrows if he's being pressured is still very nice, I would consider him a backup priority for Mercy now. Reaper's biggest weakness is often closing the gap or securing kills, and while it's more on the risky pocket side, once Reaper has gotten into his damage range, having the consistent heal or damage beam on him will help him secure those duels much more often, while also not having nearly the same issue of being able to just abandon Mercy instantly as someone like Wrecking Ball or Tracer would tend to. Doomfist is another niche target to pocket. While he often is relegated to being a punch bot, hitting that stun into a wall does let him often come very close to securing kills on squishy targets often, and having Mercy damage boost him as he dives in can really help him secure those kills. So while Mercy will need to be very careful and aware of dangers of diving in with him, she can help enable those kills just a bit more often to clutch fights out. Brigitte might seem like an odd target to pocket, however her damage output after getting dived on, as well as her insane survivability with a Mercy pocket, can make for a strong, if odd, target to pocket, even more so because she'll be healing the team the longer she's fighting out, and peeling for your other support is already an important aspect of Mercy, so it's an overall benefit to help in a duel whenever you can. While it might seem odd to pocket Zenyatta at first glance, the real benefit of running the duo together is already the glass cannon aspect, as they can't really keep up with heals. So while your team will typically have even more limited heals once you pocket Zenyatta, if you see him pumping out high damage, it's better to enable him to just end the fights quickly. And as the comp already doesn't have a lot of high healing outside your ultimates, letting him take over the majority of fights can help you cycle your ult combos while amping your team's damage potential to a massive degree. And it's typically going to be a very niche but strong pick to pocket. Usually happen earlier on in the fight, as she has no fall off on her hit scan rifle, lets her be a strong duelist in the poke phase, and two-shot anyone below 108 HP instantly, making her a massive threat to flying targets or out of position squishies. And damage boosting her can help secure kills on sleeping targets as well, so you won't be pocketing her frequently. Those times when you fly over to her and she's still at high HP is a great time to flick to your blue beam. Bastion's lack of recoil on his main gun and the insanely high burst damage in turret form make for strong pockets. However, his large hitbox and slow movement does make it harder for him to keep his uptime going. So while he's on the weaker end of hit scan pockets, it is still worth it to boost his damage in those medium range duels. Widowmaker at first glance might seem like a bad target to pocket, and in some situations it is. However, her ability to deal up to 390 damage on a headshot can pressure tanks a lot more with the lack of shields in the game now, even more so on tanks like Zarya and Junker Queen, who are on the more squishy end of tanks, forcing space open for your team. And helping her deal damage quicker allows her to fire her shots just a bit faster, decreasing the time she needs to peak for her effectiveness. Widow is also a prime dive target, and much harder to finish off if a Mercy is sitting back there with her. So while it's not needed in every situation, it can still be a very solid combo. While Junkrat suffers from the consistency issues of projectiles, his ability to burn down and annoy tanks can't be matched, and boosting that damage and letting him spam down chokes and open up lanes can be very effective. So while he shouldn't be an immediate go-to, Junk can make for a solid target, especially if he's hitting those shots often. Winston makes for a decent tank to damage boost. His shield and Mercy's new ability to fly out right after a dive gives her more protection than dive tanks usually do, letting her fly in with his initial dive, boosting his damage for a few seconds before flying back out. So if you have a weaker pocket target in general on your team, taking a few seconds to pocket his damage can very much be worth it, especially given his strong cleave damage. Torbjorn suffers less from the consistency issues of projectiles than someone like Hanzo, given his fast fire rate and uptime on his damage, letting him pressure chokes very effectively with the pocket, while also making him and Mercy an incredibly hard dive target compared to other poke characters, thanks to his threatening shotgun and turret keeping flankers back. Soldier makes for a volatile yet very powerful target pocket. Racking up chip damage quickly with her gun and grenade being boosted helps her to secure much needed kills even faster with her railgun, even with body shots. And with her ultimate going through barriers, damage boosting lets her burn down enemies faster than almost any other character in the game, making it an incredibly powerful ult to pocket. One of the strongest aspects of pocketing characters is helping them get their ultimate online faster, and helping Genji out in poke situations or boosting his dashes that help him secure kills can be an incredibly effective way to build towards Dragon Blade, which Mercy also loves to damage boost, helping Genji secure kills through healing while bouncing around and damage boosting his blade. So while the risk of diving with Mercy is still there, Genji can really take over a lobby if he's being properly enabled by a Mercy who can survive with her strong movement. Junker Queen enjoys having Mercy as a pocket, as her base issue is consistently securing kills. As such, boosting her knife pull into a Carnage really helps her get that first pick onto an enemy, while also helping to build up her incredibly powerful ultimate as quickly as possible. As such, Junker Queen is one of the more ideal tanks for Mercy to pocket. Zarya can reach a staggering 221 damage per second while being boosted by a Mercy at max charge, and her ability to regain health on her own with her shields and bubbles keeping her up helps mitigate Mercy's lack of healing, making Zarya an ideal target for burning down enemies thanks to her massive damage over time, as well as her bubbles to help protect Mercy when needed. Cassidy's mid-range poke is fantastic to boost. He's an anti-flanker who can pump out insane damage, and his new magnetic grenade keeps aggressive close-range DPS back incredibly effectively, which is the main threat to Mercy, protecting her while she helps him secure 2 shots with that incredibly strong revolver of his. Roadhog makes for Mercy's strongest tank to pocket. His self-heal makes him much less reliant on her lower heal rate compared to other supports. His right click being boosted gives him a much stronger poke phase, while his shotgun makes it hard to dive Mercy herself, and her ability to flick a damage boost onto his hook helps him secure the much needed kills that allows him to be a good tank. Pharah's movement is what makes her pair well with Mercy more so than anyone else. Being able to stay in the air behind cover while pumping out massive damage is great, while Mercy helps keep Pharah alive better than any other support thanks to being able to travel with her and constantly flick between heal and damage beam. And even if it's not the strongest pairing in my mind, it is always a threat that can take over games and makes for one of the strongest poke duos in all of Overwatch. Echo, like Pharah, loves having Mercy's boost to help keep her sustained in the air. However, the much stronger burst movement, her faster projectile speed, and powerful combos with her sticky bombs and beams only get amplified more by Mercy's damage boost, making her a much more consistent duelist in most cases compared to Pharah, even more so in a dive-based build, as Mercy is one of the few characters in the game who can keep up with Echo and safely pocket her. Ashe's ability to secure kills at a long to medium range on any weakened target makes her one of Mercy's best boost options, and with Dynamite rapidly building both Valkyrie and Bob, it allows for a solid combo rotation. The burst damage and protection from dive makes it one of the strongest combos in the entire game. Lastly, Soldier 76. His damage over time isn't always a benefit over someone like Ashe, however his insanely strong movement and heal station allow him to have some of the best uptime in the game, constantly off-angling and pressuring enemies with Mercy there to ramp his damage the entire time, helping him build Tactical Visor frequently, which benefits even more from Mercy's pocket, one of the stronger ultimates to constantly cycle in and out through the game, making him my preferred go-to pocket in almost every situation. I'd like to thank everyone once again for watching this video. Mercy is one of my favorite characters to play. She's completely unique to every single character in the game. Bouncing around with her insane movement and pocketing people to enable them is one of the most satisfying feelings in any game. And I really enjoyed, figuring out, hey, which character is the worst Sombra. But, just kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, who do I like to pocket a little more than others? And it was really fun to figure it out and write it all down and script it out. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and come back to stick around. So bye-bye and have a great day.